And when you apply for a club, I think one question that I get asked a lot by juniors is, do you think that it will make a difference as a POR? Which is just the wrong approach according to me. Like you shouldn't be joining a club just because you want it as a POR.
With what I've seen LinkedIn and with what I've experienced with LinkedIn, I think everyone has a fetish to just put in the work experience thing about their first experience.
When we came from Capstone, the Capstone was being built, and then we went into online. So my entire internship and placement process happened online. And I only went to Capstone in my final year, and that too was just for some other meeting, not for placements.
वेळ लागल्याशिवाय इतिहास घडत नाही.
For me, like as you mentioned, chemical engineers, what we learn in college is like the ABCD of the grammar or something. It's like very basics, heat transfer, mass transfer. It's very basic. We solve some numericals and stuff, but those are never really applied in the industries. We are even told that this theorem or concept is an old concept which is not used, but we still are being taught that, and that becomes a major part of the portion. So for you in production as such, how relevant was what was taught to you by the professors compared to what you learned? Because I think it was not that relevant, but you had to go on your own as well. But in the basics at least, not apart from tires, just the basics. Do you think it was enough, or do you still have to cover up on your own?
When it comes to core engineering, like mechanical civil, or if you are in a very niche industry like tire or other OEMs, experience matters more than what you learn. Like what you learn in tire industry, you cannot go and learn in any online
Same in chemical.
MOOC platforms. Like there are few courses on maybe supply chain or maybe on this machine design that you can learn. But if you want to learn particularly, say about engines or about tires or about bearings, that you cannot learn from any online platform. That you have to go to the industry, get trained, and then you have to apply. I think that is one advantage of a core job. Unlike software jobs where anyone can reskill themselves and then get into any company of their choice, here the industries are quite less. That is a disadvantage as well as an advantage. Like you, in my industry, you have only like 5 or 6 companies within the entire country. So you could say that I have very less choice to jump from here to there. But on the other side, since I have experience in this tire industry, I am very less replaceable than any software engineer. A software engineer constantly needs to reskill themselves with the latest technology, or else they would become outdated and get replaced by a younger programmer in few years.
Fair point.
Yeah. In a core engineering company, they would get experience within their domain or within their product that they are manufacturing, and for another person to get into their position, they cannot just learn from any online platform and then come here. They have to go through the entire process from scratch. So that I think is an advantage for a core engineering job.
At that point, I feel sometimes that even I might not have experienced it in that level, but with whatever I experienced during my internships, I felt whatever the college teaches, for me it was completely irrelevant. Like I felt that even the courses that we are taking, why I don't understand for what are, like it's not inclined to what it's being used at all. And the worst part is that they want us to get deep in those courses. they'll give a like like a 1,000-page reference book that you have to refer, go through PPTs and all that stuff. So I don't know. I just feel there's a huge gap, huge, extremely huge. It's like completely unnecessary. Like it can be changed. Like I don't understand why are the like how is it not evident to anyone that because then what you have to do is that you have to learn college to get good grades, and then you have to invest separate time to learn these separate skills, which is actually required, which doesn't make any sense. You know, you feel that might as well just learn what is required. Why are we learning this? And I
Talking
feel it
about like
goes with
separate time,
separate time.
talking about separate time. Now you talked about what you learned from college, and that goes forward to the manufacturing plant. We talked about academics as such. Do you think anything that you learned from your experience as a club member of, I guess you were a part of DC as well, yeah? DC and
Hmm.
Toastmasters. So did anything that you learn in club in any way help you in your journey as an employee? Or do you think clubs as such in general, they help? The right clubs might help you or something like that.
Right.
What has been your experience over there?
Yeah. How does college clubs help
Right.
in your job, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
when it comes to DC, so I was the part of Designers Consortium, the official innovation and product designing club of NITC. I think they changed their tagline, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
So in DC, it's like every new product is like a startup. You start from scratch from the idea,
Right.
you build the prototype, and then you make the physical prototype by using the various
Simulation.
the various tools like the lathe machine at the science lab, or you go out for welding, and
Hmm.
it's also a very on your feet and making your hands dirty kind of environment
Correct.
environment in DC,
Mm,
but
Correct.
it's not the same as a manufacturing plant. In a
Hmm.
manufacturing plant, everything is standardized. There's a lot of protocols that you have to follow before you can implement something.
Hmm.
This is for the company's best interest, but
Right.
as an employee, as a young employee, you might want to change things faster, and that could be a bit frustrating to you.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So coming to the question, how DC helped me in my job, uh, since my job does not involve designing as such, so the skill set that I learned in DC are complete from the skill set that I had in my job. I'm not saying that it was irrelevant, but if I had been in a design role, it would be more relevant. And even say the fabrication that we do for our projects, right? So that was a bit relevant to me. Like
Mm,
the fabrication mostly involved machining and welding. We don't do machining and welding here, but still we try to fabricate it within the uh, resources that we have as a student club, right? So that's what the company expects you to manufacture the product without much loss and with efficiency and effectiveness. So that there are some things that are beyond the technical skill sets that you can learn, and that I have learned and can see its usefulness in my job. Coming to Toastmasters, um, hmm, so Toastmaster prepares you to be a better communicator and a leader. For me, in this job, uh, speaking impromptu is a necessary part, and speaking impromptu with the proper facts is essential, because whenever a problem comes on the shop floor, you cannot be like preparing a PPT and then going there and presenting. So for me, the impromptu speaking was the major skill that I learned from DC, that from Toastmasters, that helped me in my job. Like uh, I had to have all the important points on my fingertips. And whenever a manager comes to me and ask about a particular thing, I have to say it. So, and I cannot just fumble around. Like, it's a very crucial thing for me to say things and get things done right away. I cannot waste anyone's time there. So for me, that was a major uh, skill that I learned from Toastmasters that I see as essential for my job.
Hmm.
Hmm. Speaking of clubs, you were part of DC and Toastmasters. So, what according to you is like the optimal number of clubs to join in college? Because some
Same
of us
question.
just sign up for every club there
That
out
is
there
true.
and then
That is
find
true.
it difficult. And
Like,
or some of us just find it hard with one club itself, and that makes sense if it's like a technical club like RMI or Delta, for example. So, what would be a good number of clubs to say join in college?
And I think to add on to that, what has happened since it's been all online, right? Uh, Many people, I think, including I also fall into this, that we have joined multiple clubs because there is not of okay 10 minutes left anyway. So there not a lot of work involved in each club during online. So you feel so when it was all online, you feel it's all manageable. You know what you maximum have to do is join a meet. Correct. Just click on a link, join a meet. But then I think when it shifted to offline, I actually understood it's quite difficult to just be part of two clubs. One technical club is just too much of a um, too much of work already. So I think, and during this transition, so I think what juniors now are feeling is that since they look up to seniors and they feel like, oh, this senior is part of like 2 3 clubs, they also feel like, oh, even so it's probably manageable. Probably the senior is very active in all the clubs, which he is not. And then they also are very motivated to join all clubs, whatever they're interested in. I think it's very important to actually sit and
for
see what you are actually
me,
interested in, what is the purpose of a club, and which club you want to go for.
For me, I had a very clear idea as such. When I joined this college, I was very clear that I wanted to go in two clubs because
Mm.
one was public speaking, the other was finance. So I had a
Mm.
very clear idea. No more than two, only
Right,
two, and
right.
focus my other time in anything else I want to do.
I think that is an
So for
optimal
me,
way.
it was a bit
Mm.
fixed in
Correct,
my own
Hmm.
mentality. I was like fixed.
correct, correct, correct.
I didn't get the other club. That's a different. But for me, it was fixed.
It's
Yeah,
like
that's it. What
rationalizing
do you
your
think, Jayu?
choices.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Anshul. Even though I made fun of that, I agree that you need to have clarity on why you need to join the
Correct,
clubs.
correct.
In my case, the clubs that I got into were the clubs that I had the most clarity on why I had to join. So the other teams and clubs, I just joined just because I saw my seniors there, or
Mm.
it looked very appealing to me. Like I looked
Correct,
at customer marketing and I was like, oh, this is great. I have to go. But
correct.
the team environment might not be the best for me. But in the cases of DC and Toastmasters, I was pretty sure why I had to join. It wasn't due to peer pressure or looking at seniors or looking how appealing it was. I had an innate interest to public speaking and to design and development of products. So that's why I joined both the clubs. And
Mm.
coming to the optimal number of clubs that one could join, hmm. So when I was in my first year, the advice given to me was do not join more than 3 clubs. But I don't
Correct.
know how they came up with the
Yeah.
part.
Some
For me, managing 2 clubs was hard. And DC being a technical club robbed
Same.
me of my time that I could spend on uh, even academics too, because like
correct,
it took a
correct.
lot of time, especially during my offline semesters. In
Mm.
online, it was a bit less hectic because
Right,
there's only so much that you could do here. So
right. Correct. Mm.
Hmm.
Adding
Why?
on to this,
Mm.
like for the viewers, like those who are listening, for example, if you're like junior or someone, the main part of joining a club is not joining the club for the numbers' sake. It's contributing to the club. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you should not only just work in the first year as a laborer in the club, do the physical work or something. The main thing is you need to climb up the ladder and be a leader as such,
Correct.
so that you can give back to the club.
Correct.
There's no point in joining multiple club and not doing anything. I feel it's very
And
important to stick to clubs and rise in position. That's only when you learn what to do or how a club is supposed to be. Otherwise, it's useless.
right, and when you apply for a club, I think one question that I get asked a lot by juniors is, do you think that it will make a difference as a POR? Which is just the wrong approach, according to me. Like you shouldn't be joining a club just because you want it as a POR, because these are the sort of people who will join and then they will leave after a few months, and you don't gain anything from that experience, and it may or may not add weight to your resume. So I think whatever it is, join if you're passionate about one club and
The
picking
best
later.
thing is
In
for me, it did not add any weight for me in my resume. I had
Hmm.
like 3, 4 PORs, nice PORs, okay, and I wrote sexy points in all of them. But it did not add any value because in 3 of my interviews, none of them asked me about my position responsibility. They didn't ask
Hmm.
any question. Oh, Anshul, I see that you're the vice president. What did you do? No questions. They only wanted to know, is my skill set related to their job profile? If it is yes, then they'll test me on that. That's it.
Hmm.
That company did not care much about my extracurriculars. Some do, some don't.
Some
Hmm.
do, some
Okay.
don't. Exactly.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's
Correct.
about it.
And talking about
okay,
that, yeah, Jandran. So I
yeah.
wanted to ask you about this only. So I think in general, especially fast teams and all, with what I've seen LinkedIn and with what I've experienced with LinkedIn, I think everyone has a fetish to just put in the work experience thing about their first experience, and it feels so, like you're part, and you're a part, and when you put it right, and when you upload it, and it's done, you feel like you're part of something, and you have like something to put on your like LinkedIn profile or in your resume, and it feels very special, and like, okay, I'm doing something really great, and you're like very pumped about it. um, but in general, in reality, I want to ask how much actually, like in terms of your experience, of course it might matter a lot for some other companies, but with your experience, how much has it helped? Have you been part of any first team personal PQ
I was a
project?
part of breakfast content in the first year, but that's it. I
Right. Okay.
didn't continue.
Hmm. But other than that, even in Toastmasters, like from an essay to having other, being in an area team, uh, like having PORs in Toastmasters, like how has it actually helped you in terms of getting shortlisted? And even after getting shortlisted, has anyone treated you differently since you are, oh my God, part of this club?
No,
No,
no, not at all.
correct. Hmm.
Yeah, even I mean, one of the selling points that our seniors used to do when they come for club inductions or team inductions was that the PORs will help you in your resume shortlisting, which I
Correct.
think is absolutely false.
Yeah.
Being from a technical club, I could say that the projects that I did added some value to it,
Correct.
but I don't think the POs help me in any way. Uh,
Hmm.
More than POs, they see your experience as a leader, like how
Right.
you handle the situations and how you managed a team, how you functioned in a team. They look from a behavioral perspective rather than from just another point on your resume. They're not looking at it as another achievement. They're just looking at how you did it and are you really capable of doing similar things at the company when you join.
Hmm.
Correct, correct.
So that I think is even if you are part of just one club, you have to ensure that you get the maximum value out of it.
Exactly.
You
Right.
have to ensure that uh, as a leader in that club, you took the clubs to new heights and you have managed the team very well. So that's
Correct.
the very important thing that they see in you as a candidate, like how you function within a team,
Hmm.
how you influence others, how you lead others, how you negotiate with others. So that is the most important thing. If you have that experience as a uh, member of the club, then that I would think is the uh, benefit of joining any club or fest. It's not just another point that could be added in your resume.
Right.
For a fact, like in LinkedIn, I used to put it like that.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I felt that
It's too childish.
this has to be. I still put it, but I don't put it as a work experience. I just put it as a volunteer experience down
Got it.
the line. Not putting it up there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just down the line.
Right,
That's
right,
it.
right. But I think the message is not to discourage to join clubs, but to have the right motivation to join. Like
Right.
POR is not the good motivation. Like you should actually feel for the club, what they do, even any fest team or whatever it is.
And you can only have answers to questions like, what would you do in this situation if you actually did some work and if you are a
Right,
leader?
that helps a lot
Right.
in these behavioral questions.
Yeah.
So, as you were saying, clubs is an important part to, you need to actually work in clubs rather than just do the labor in first, second. You need to be leaders, and then only you can get experience of which you can show to the interviewer. Okay, so that's the one thing. And apart from this, like, how was your experience with NITT Capstone, or the CPC team, or internships and placements? How was your experience? How many interviews did you give?
Okay, I don't have count of how many interviews I gave.
Mhm.
I think I have written it somewhere, but I have no idea of that. I have to check. But yeah, I did apply to a lot of companies.
Right.
I mean, coming to core, the number of companies that come are very less, and I believe I applied to more than 75% of them.
Hmm.
So like why
Coming to Capstone,
coming
see,
to
by when we came from coming to Capstone, when we came, the Capstone was being built, and then we went into online. So my entire internship and placement process happened online,
Bro,
and I
Damn.
only went to Capstone in my final year, and that too was just for some other meeting, not for placements.
damn.
damn,
No, I
bro.
think it was. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think the capstone was fully functional when we were there during our second year.
Okay, okay. So did you get an intern through campus or did you apply off campus?
Uh, I applied off campus. I went for a research internship at IIT Kharagpur in the field of additive manufacturing. Uh, it's mostly simulation based. Uh, It's about simulating the additive manufacturing and finding various properties of how result, how the end result was. So it mostly involved me getting results from the lab and then doing simulation on my computer and then cross checking and then seeing if the uh, mathematical model uh, behind what we were doing was right or wrong. So it's more on validating the mathematical model.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This research intern that you did at IIT, do you think like the tag of research intern at IIT really matters when it comes to placements, or how were you able to convince the production people that your research intern helped you a lot in gaining this skill? Or when they asked questions like that, how were you able to answer that research intern helped you in this way to learn this skill as such?
Again, coming to the tag, like most people say that in resumes, tags and brands matter a lot. But I have two different opinions on it. First, like getting into a bigger tag or a bigger company means that you have worked harder and more smarter than everybody else, and that's the reason you got into this company or you got into a prestigious research internship program like NITEC. So it shows your capability and your competitiveness amongst others. You can stand out amongst others. On the other hand, it it is equally important to see what kind of work you do and whether the work you do has delivered the value or has had any impact on the field that you're working on. Most people who work on research internships convert their work into a publication, whether it be on a journal or a conference.
Yeah.
And yeah, like personally, to you, if you add those publications into your resume, it would be helpful for you in your highest application.
Correct.
I'm not sure about the job part because I haven't seen how it plays when you apply to a corporate job, where going for a research internship matters less. I'm not saying it does not matter, but I'm saying the number of publications that you publish does not matter that much in your corporate job. It matters significantly higher when you apply for highest. Nonetheless, any work experience, whether it be a research internship or a company internship, is better than having nothing. Because you, apart from the technical skills that you learn a lot of soft skills like how to conduct yourself in a work environment, how to work under a supervisor, how to
Correct.
manage things. So these soft skills are expected from you as a candidate, and that I think is you can get from any internship, whether it be a company or a research internship. But apart from this one factor, you have to look into many other factors such as your career goals and ambitions, whether you want to stay here or whether you want to go to hires or whether you want to be a researcher, whether you want a corporate job. So you have to look into all these factors and then choose whether you want to go into a company internship or a research internship. I would suggest people to have both, but it's not. It's very hard. I mean, ideally, people would go for a research internship during their second year. When it comes to core branches, I'm not sure about circuital or CSV. When it comes to core branches, people tend to go for a research internship during the second year, and based on their experience in it, they choose their career path thereon. So I would suggest them to do the same. I mean, doing a company internship during your second year,
It's tough.
in my opinion, it's not very fruitful. Like in second year, you won't have that much knowledge about your core field or any field for that matter. So even if you join there, they wouldn't give you a very significant or a very challenging work. It would be a very simple work, and you won't get a lot out of it.
And one common question that I guess everyone has is like, how did you prepare for your placements? That's like the most common question. Like, again, and it's obvious that they will have because everyone is curious. You know, you get into such big companies. How did you prepare for this? Like, what did you ask? This, that, this. For me personally, like, I followed the advice of my seniors. It was very clear on what they told me. I also went through a lot of reviews online on what exactly I need to study, YouTube videos, and I focused on that. It took me like around 4 or 5 months of proper work to actually know something about the field that I'm trying to get in, which is non-core basically. So that was like my experience. What was your experience in this? Like, how long did you take to study? If you, and how did you prepare for this? Did you give any mock interviews? So I didn't. So like that.
Yeah, they are into my life. It feels like.
Yeah.
How do they know? Like it's raining, it's just one drop rain, and it's already. Do you want chai? Like I'm like, oh my god.
And you know what gets up pakoras to go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sit for placements. But still, when I was preparing for OTs, I realized that this is what they asked in CPC. I should have started a year ago. It would have been much more easier for me in my fourth year. Yeah. So that is when I realized that CPC actually helps. It's just our seniors helping us out, the juniors out. So they are taking the effort to help you out.
Correct.
So
In core, the reference is the only way to get a job, in my honest opinion. You cannot get a core engineering job through online portals like LinkedIn or I haven't seen anyone get a core job through them. Like,
what is the name of the group?
can't say.
Why can't you say?
NSFW.
Yeah.
No.
This is 18 plus podcast, guys. This is 18 plus podcast.
This is 18 plus podcast, guys. This is 18 plus podcast.